It's the 8th of February, the year 2023. Good morning and thank you so much for joining us. This is your favorite weekly program on MBCI TV, the Mid-Morning Pack, where we bring you current affairs, topical issues in the society, in our nation, and everything in between, and trying to assess the direction that our country is taking, especially in matters to do with the economy of the nation. And we are glad that today you are with us right here on this particular show. What an interesting conversation, robust discussion that we've prepared for you today. And as usual, my co-host is right here with me, Bwana Paul Kagi. How's your morning?
Right, good morning, Mangicho.
Good morning to you.
How has been your week?
Very, very well.
Good morning and welcome to our weekly program, Mid-Morning Pack. As Mangicho has likely said, is a program that brings you on our current issues happening in our country and sometimes abroad in various aspects. My name is Paul Kagi. We are here to give you detailed analysis of various issues affecting our country, and is day one of our Form 1s who are enjoying their days in high school. Karibu sana.
Wow, yeah. And of course, we'll be able also to look at that particular matter. We have two areas of discussion in our today's show. Matters to do with tax reforms. That is something that has been hitting our headlines in the recent past. And also want to look and focus on matters to do with the politics of development and loyalty. Where are we as far as development is concerned, and the politics in line with that, and also matters to do with the loyalty. We'll be able to discuss about that. And as usual, you can always catch us live on our Facebook page, that is MBCI TV, and you can also join this particular conversation in today's discussion in our YouTube page, that is MBCI TV Official. And of course, we'll be able to see what are some of your feedback, what are some of your opinions in the conversation that we are having today. And the question that we are asking you in our mid-morning pack today, the question that we are asking you is, do you support the government's intended strict tax reforms? Do you support the government's intended strict tax reforms? You can join us and you can give us your opinion, you can give us your feedback, you can give us your feeling, you can share with us what your perspectives are as far as this particular discussion is concerned. And you can also get us through our shortcut platform, that is 23814, 23814. And of course, as we continue with the conversation, we'll be glad to see what your contribution is on the same. But as you are saying, Kagi, there are other things that have been taking place during this particular week.
Right, and by yesterday we had an information that the tribunal that was set by the president, the former president Kenyatta, to be able to investigate the conduct of Justice Chitembwe, yesterday it compiled its report and handed over to the current president, and they found Justice Chitembwe to be guilty of gross misconduct. And I think it is a wake-up call because it was a good trend whereby if someone is found to be maybe suspected of something, it's good to follow the due course of the law to be able to verify if someone was guilty or innocent.
Yes.
And as the president was saying yesterday, that this should be the way to be able to run our activities, that we should not lynch any public officer in public gallery or public opinions because of maybe some suspicion. We should allow the law take its course so that nobody will feel that his right has been violated.
That's very true. And I think that is something that is commendable. That is something that as a country we need to look into, especially when it comes to such very critical offices in the nation. We are talking about the judiciary, which we know is one of very, very crucial state agencies. And of course, when we see such process taking place like this one, I think, and even the action that, of course, will come after this, I think this will be also a lesson that it is very, very important for officers who are in these critical departments, critical commissions, to be able to ensure that they observe high levels of integrity.
Right, and also there's something that is cooking up, which is, has really rattled the education stakeholders, the KUPPET, the NAT, regarding the proposed radical proposals in the education sector. And one of the most radical, sensitive area that really rattled the NAT and KUPPET and even WASU is the issue of trying to privatize the public universities, because private universities are in private sector, but there are many public universities which they are proposing to be privatized. Number two, there is also a proposal to be able to merge some of the universities. I don't know how it can be done, but there is that proposal. And also, they have proposed to trim the powers of TSC. And I think if there are some people who are going to smile are the teachers, because they have been uncomfortable with the Teacher Service Commission. And also, they want to review the grades, the entry grades of the teachers' training colleges. And also, I have seen they want to strengthen the middle-level colleges. And I have seen there is also a proposal, a bill which is coming in Parliament, in Senate, to be able to force all the 47 counties to be able to start a technical training college, right? And finally, they are proposing to have a creation of a center of excellence. Yeah.
It seems like in these first 5 years of the Kenya Kwanza government, we are going to see and you're going to have a lot as far as the education sector is concerned. And apparently that particular proposal to privatize the education sector, among them the universities, I think the unions, I saw them yesterday, they vehemently opposed that particular move, and I think that is something that is really going to form one of the key debates as far as that particular area is concerned, because people are wondering what effect it's really going to have if they are going to take such a particular move.
Right.
And of course, even as we talk about that, there is something that you had also talked about, the commencement of Form 1 beginning on Monday. And I think they've started, and so many parents have actually cried foul that the instructions that the government had put, that no student should actually be out because of school fees. And we are still seeing so many students have not been able to report to Form 1. The issue again of buying of books from selected shops, selected bookshops. These are another instruction that the government had actually put, but it's like some of these school heads are not really paying attention to these instructions. They are just doing what they are doing with a lot of impunity.
Yes, and there's one case which was reported yesterday, which is a bit touching, regarding a boy who was forced to repeat class 8 because he could not be able, the parent could not be able to raise money for the school fees to go to Form 1, and he had 400, I think, or 5 marks. It's too unfortunate.
Yeah.
But Mangicho, there's something I've been asking myself regarding the issue of school fees for our students. And that is, if you look at our system, it's like we have created a lot of systems to be able to support pupils to go to school. For example, we have the national government, which is funding the education sector, the free primary and secondary education. There's a big share of money there. Number two, if you come to our county governments, they have a big share of what they call the bursaries. And if you look at our counties, I feel that they are more of trying to provide bursaries for our students than other things. If you go to the NGCDF, much of their work they are doing is to provide bursaries for the students. If you go to the MCA, the same. Now, all this money are coming from one coffer, the public tax. And I was asking myself, instead of having the national government providing money for students who are unable to go to school, the governor, the MP, and the MCA, why don't we consolidate all this money, maybe from the national treasury, to declare that no student is going to pay school fees. We leave this job to the government instead of just devolving bursaries to everybody. Why don't we have a single source whereby we are sourcing our education, and we have a free education to all instead of many bursaries which we are budgeting for? Right.
That's a very good point to look into, because again, it's very ironical that every time the government tells us that it's ready to ensure 100% transition and that it is going to cater for the needs of the parents and their children when it comes to matters of education. But when now it comes to the rubber meeting the road, you really don't see that particular action being taken. And of course, many people will be asking, is the government deceiving its citizens? And in a short while, we'll be introducing our guest for this particular show. We'll be having Dr. Michael Ndonye, who is a political analyst and also a lecturer in the communication department at Kabarak University. He is going to help us look at what we are going to discuss for today. But maybe just one more thing, Kagi.
Yes.
We also had the Minister for Interior, Professor Kithure Kindiki, giving a presser in relation to 100 days in office and some of the steps that has been taken by his ministry to ensure the security of the nation. But again, on the other side, we still have bandits wreaking havoc in some parts of this country.
And one of the things he is really feeling success about is that he has really managed to get back this, I think 60% of the stolen cattle. And people are asking many questions regarding to that analysis or maybe that data. And I think to be able to help him to show the achievement for the 100 days, he is called Internal Security Cabinet Secretary. I think his main role is to ensure that every corner of the country is secure, especially the issue of banditry in the northern corridor. He should by now be able to manage those guys.
And I think the bandits have actually become very notorious because it's like nowadays they monitor him. He just makes a statement and a few minutes later
they strike.
They strike.
They wait for him to come for a baraza.
Yes.
2 or 3 kilometers away, they make an ambush.
Yes.
You know, they are very embarrassing.
Wow. So at this particular point, we want to welcome now our guest in the mid-morning pack. This is Dr. Michael Ndonye from Kabarak University and also a political analyst. Karibu sana, Daktari. Good to have you today.
Good to have you. Thank you very much for having me today together with Mr. Kagi. I'm delighted.
Wow.
Yeah.
How have you been?
I've been well.
How's 2023 for you?
Good. So far. So far it's good.
So far, we're still in the early days.
I cannot complain.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's good. I know there are two areas that we're going to discuss, matters to do with the tax and also matters to do with the politics of development and loyalty. We saw a section of ODM MPs yesterday meeting Ruto, President Ruto, and it has really caused a lot of debate and mixed feelings in the country. We want to discuss about that. But out of what we've just highlighted with Kagi, maybe what is it that has stood out for you?
Okay, thank you. I think what has stood out for me is actually what Kagi has talked about. The way the government should handle the issue of bursaries and free primary education. I think that is very innovative to think about if the government, as he has stated, can decide instead of giving out money every other time and subdividing this money into different regions, why don't they just make education free? And I was actually asking myself, I think we need to do an audit of how much money is needed to offer free primary education and how much money is needed to give bursaries. If that money is almost equal, then there is no need of having bursaries, because creating bursaries creates avenues for money to leak out of the system through corruption or other means. But if the government can just decide to have free education for all and forget about bursaries, then it will have solved the problem. So I think that one stood out for me as an innovative idea that I think the government should adopt. If there is something that is done to ensure maybe that solution can work. Of course, among other things.
Among other things that need to be put into place. That's very well. Thank you so much, Dr. And now to the main area of discussion, the tax reforms and the politics that has come. And are we really seeing the politics actually taking over this matter to do with the tax reforms, Dr.
Of course, the government is a political organ. It came into power through politics. It's a political system. And I remember when we were here last time, we were asking ourselves about the promises of development that the both sides of the contestants were making before elections. And one thing that was standing out was that they were to institute a lot of projects in this country. And I remember us actually saying that these projects, for any road to be made, the government has no investment that it has made. That money must come from Wananchi. Okay. And it must come from Wananchi through taxation. We are a developing country. We are not like developed countries which have invested in some other areas where the government get funding. Yeah. For us, we depend on a 90% taxation. So it is not coming actually as a surprise. And it should not come as a surprise that the government is taxing citizens and expanding the tax bands. And even if Azimio came into government, that is the same thing we would be talking about. Okay. Yeah, because they have no money of themselves. They have to get money from Wananchi. Yeah.
But then the way it has been put and the way you look at it, Daktari, so do we really credit or do we really blame our current economic crisis to failure to look into the tax issue?
Yeah, thank you. I think there are many things to blame. First of all, the situation, the issue of economic downturn is not only in Kenya, but also in other countries. And I remember the former president blaming the war in Russia and that kind of a thing. It was true. Yeah. And we cannot also blame the current government at the same time. As I have said, even if another person would have come into power, they would have needed money to be able to run government. Right. That money comes from Wananchi. So, of course, we are going to see more actually of if we expect the government to deliver, we are likely to see a lot of hardships in the future. Until we give enough, and the government says now we have enough, that now you can rest, and now we can carry out the project that we promised you. Yeah.
But maybe you have a point before.
Maybe, Dr. There's one issue here that has really drawn my attention regarding the issue of tax. I was listening to President, I think last Sunday, when he was making a town gathering, and he talked about that everybody must pay tax, whether you are small, you are big, you are rich, and we have to allow even rich people to be able to pay tax. And people were really celebrating when he was asking them, do you think everybody must pay tax? They were saying yes. Yeah. I feel one, they didn't know they are also culprits. Part of the tax. They didn't know, right? So they are celebrating their own disadvantage, if I may call it like that. Exactly. But my question is, do you think Kenyans understand what is tax? Talk about the ordinary Kenyans, Mwananchi, leave alone the people who are prominent, they understand. But do you think ordinary Mwananchi understands really what is tax, what is paying tax, what is this tax, what does it do? Do they understand really?
I think, thank you for that question. I think taxation 101 should be taught in schools, because we usually come to learn about taxation when you get there. Kenyans do not understand taxation. They totally don't understand. Most of them actually, say for the elite, other Kenyans do not really understand what taxation is, because taxation means high prices of things. Because if I go to the supermarket today, I usually check how much VAT has been deducted out of the 1,000 shillings I have spent. And that is when I'm able to realize I have actually, out of 1,000 that I have spent, 300 is going to the government. You understand?
Most Kenyans would say that they've gone with the 1,000 you're talking about, and they are wondering.
Yes, they are wondering why is it that I have just bought two things and another 1,000 has gone. So the issue is there is taxation in everything. You buy fuel. If you earn money, you are taxed. You are paying, but it does not stop there. There is VAT, and there are other taxes actually which are there, especially if you are a consumer. If you are actually a middle level person, for example, you have a car, you are buying fuel, every liter. I don't know how many Kenyans know how much they pay per liter to the government. The one they fuel the car. So they totally don't understand.
And also tokens.
And even tokens, everything. At the end of it, you realize out of the money you earn, you spend around, what is yours is around 20%.
Is what you are remaining with.
Actually, that is what you should be remaining with.
20%.
The others go to the government.
Wow.
And now the problem now, I think what we should ask in is whether, and that is where your question is, when the president is talking about everyone should pay tax, it's not that the common man does not pay tax. Your tax is deducted at every transaction that you make. So what the government should be following up is whether that tax is submitted to KRA. In most cases, that those people do not submit the tax. They have a way of evading. So you pay the tax, but they don't submit. And I think that is where maybe the government should adjust and find a way of sealing the leakages. After we pay tax, does that money get to the government?
And now, Dr. most Kenyans are also complaining that, and even other stakeholders are of the view that what was supposed to come first.
Yeah.
Of course, we know, and I think virtually all Kenyans will believe that it is right. It's a good thing to pay tax.
Yeah.
But there are also those who were of the school of thought that things were so bad in this particular country, in that this government was supposed or was expected to come first and at least try to correct the wrongs that were done, try to ensure that there is good working environment, provide jobs for those who are jobless, provide good opportunities for those who want to invest, those who want to do entrepreneurship, and so on and so forth. Then later on, they would now be justified to come and call now for the tax.
For the tax.
But this is like the other way around.
To do that, they need money. Where do they get that money? If you want to build a good house where there is still another house, Kenya is a house that has been built. Presidents come, they continue building. And we have always been complaining that this house is not good. This house is not accommodative. This house is not giving us as much as we need. So if we want someone to come and rebuild the house, should they continue from where the previous government left, or they should demolish the house first? And when you are demolishing the house, there are a lot of pains. I'm not saying I understand maybe the taxation policy and all the policies of Kenya Kwanza government, but if you listen to what experts are saying, even you remember we were running on subsidies. Actually, before President Ruto was sworn, we were buying fuel at lower prices, right? And then immediately they talked about subsidies which were withdrawn, and then the fuel cost went up. Why didn't we complain? It's because some people came now, economists, and explained to us, this thing you are calling subsidy is not sustainable. You are procrastinating a problem. So if you want to be happy tomorrow, if you want to be secure tomorrow economically, you must have some radical reforms today. And those are the things we should now scrutinize, where will this taxation take us in the future? Is it going to pay off in the current generation? Or we decide we are not going to suffer and we transfer that suffering to the future generation?
Yeah, Mangicho, and we have, yesterday's, there was that law which was passed yesterday, in the courts, regarding the NSSF, from 200 to 2,000 plus. And many people are asking, tax should come to help us to run our daily activities, maybe at a big percent. But how beneficial is it to a civil servant or a working class whereby their tax, the NSSF payment, has been taken from 200 to 2,000 shillings plus? How is it beneficial to that civil servant?
Okay, I don't know whether NSSF is tax or it is just as it is called, because NSSF is a deduction. It is not tax. Actually, that is your money. I remember yesterday when they were doing that, I tried to explain to someone, and I told them, when did we start paying 200 shillings NSSF? Some decades ago. And when you retire, you need that money, because that is your money. Actually, it's like you are saving. It is not tax. It's different from payee, because when payee goes, it goes. It cannot
and where does it go, that money?
Payee.
No,
the NSSF.
Yes,
NSSF
is my
saving, actually
yeah?
you are saving, because when you retire, you are supposed to get that money.
It's okay, But does the government benefit from that money?
Of course, when you get that when you are deducted that NSSF money, there is also some money that is supposed to come from your employer. Okay, and then once you retire, you are supposed to be given that money. And if you look at the rate that is there, if I'm going to work for around 30 years, you just multiply that years times 12 times 200, and you get very less than 100,000 shillings. That is very little money that to keep me when I am retired.
Before you continue, I'm trying to follow up, because why is the government so aggressive? The previous regime and even this regime, even the way the president was speaking yesterday, is very passionate on ensuring that we have this money paid 2,000. I feel, away from now benefiting from that money after I retire, I feel even the government is really waiting for that money to benefit it somewhere. Where is?
Of course. Of course, they as a wise person, if you were the government, you would use that one as a wise way of generating revenue for your use before. It's like they are borrowing, but they are borrowing legally because that money will go to them, and therefore they can do business with that money.
Is that what
and
you
at
call
the end of it,
the domestic borrowing?
that is creative. Actually, that is creative way of running government. So if it is a creative way of running the government, then so be it, provided we should be assured that once my money has been deducted, by the time I need it, I will be given that money plus some interest as per the law, because that is why they are trading. That is, so when we say they are trading, that is something which is known, and that is why you are told that money, you will not just be given exact amount of money you contributed. There will be some interest that that money will have acquired. So how comes the money attracted some interest is because someone did business with the money. Yeah. So what we should be assured is that we will get our money when you reach there.
Actually, that's a very good point, and Daktari, even the example that you've given, and most Kenyans would want actually to have a good life when they retire. And of course, the paltry 200 contribution for every month would really give one.
It's very small. It's
very
around
insignificant.
Very small amount of money.
Yes. But then Kenyans are up in arms against this particular law.
What we should ask, actually, sorry to cut you short, what we should ask ourselves, how many Kenyans are eligible to contribute to NSSF? How many? What percentages, what percent of Kenyans are formally employed?
Exactly.
It's actually less than 2%.
Less than 2%.
So people who are making noise, I think sometimes we are carried by some emotions and crowned. Because most people who are complaining, they don't even know what is that.
But I don't think NSSF and even NHIF are paid only by the civil servants. What I know is that if you employ someone, whether in private sector or even a civil servant, you're supposed to remit their NSSF money to the institution.
And the word on the streets has it that even accessing this money, even for those who have retired, has been a long call.
And I think now we go back to what we were talking about, the issue of taxation. Because just as we said about taxation, most organizations, they deduct that money, they don't remit it to the government. By the time you are retiring, you go to the government and they tell you, we don't have your money. Your employer never used to remit that money. And I think that is what the government should concentrate more on. Because there are very many people who contribute that money, they are deducted, but it is not given to the government.
Dr. I'm just being told that we need to take a short break at this particular juncture. You're still watching the Mid-Morning Park. Continue being with us. We're coming back after this short breather.
MBCI Television, transforming lives.
Kiambu County, Ruto, Mission to the Body of Christ International MBCI, in conjunction with Kiambu Pastors Fellowship, invites you to Possessing the Promise of Revival Conference from 13th till 19th of February 2023, daily from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. at Ruto Stadium inside the mega tent. Join thousands in anointed sessions of prayers, praise, worship, and impartation through the Word of God, ministered by Apostle John Kimani William. Lord, I have heard of your fame. I stand in awe of your deeds. Lord, repeat them in our day. Repeat them in our time. Make them known. In wrath, remember mercy. Habakkuk chapter 3, verse 2. Remember, we shall also be having a mega kesher on Friday, 17th February 2023, starting from 9 p.m. Possessing the Promise of Revival Conference is an interdenominational meeting, free and open to all.
Na mochari Kiswahili inaitwaje?
Makavazi ya watu.
O makavazi, eh?
Yeah.
What is the third number after 1?
Hiyo ni 3 plus 1, 31.
Pardon?
3 plus 1, 31.
I will delete you from this school.
2 kids born from the same pregnancy at the same time, they are twins. What about 3?
Thrice.
4?
4 threes.
5?
5 threads.
Not too much.
3 kids born at the same time from the same pregnancy are called?
Triplets.
4?
4 plates.
5?
5 plates.
It is a true definition of cooking is an art, and here we introduce creativity in meal preparation. This Thursday we are at Cypress Park, whereby we'll be bringing you a special recipe that you and your loved ones can try this month of love, because we say we celebrate love every day, but also God is love. Stay tuned this Thursday, 7:30 in the PM to 8 in the PM, only on MBCI TV. My name is Perpetual Nyambura.
Do you desire to attain your divine destiny and serve God's purpose for your life? You can do so by your daily devotionals using inspired materials that has been written prayerfully for the benefit of the body of Christ. Apostle John Kimani William has published the 2023 edition of Nuggets of Destiny. In it, you will find an anchor scripture to guide your path as you spend time with God, a brief sermonette to inspire, teach, encourage, counsel, and rebuke you, suggestion for further reading in line with the message of each day, a prayer bullet to help you pray in the perfect will of God, and a one-year Bible reading plan to guide you through the Bible in 2023. Get your copy today at Kingdom Seekers Fellowship Gift Shop and at Heaven's Gate Prayer Mountain Gift Shop. You can also call 0722 344 360 to place your order today. If you are in Nairobi and its environs, place your order through 0799 573 310. God bless you.
MBCI Television, transforming lives.
Karibu tena, you are still watching the Mid-Morning Pack, your favorite weekly show. Everyone is there right here on MBCI TV. And today we are discussing matters to do with the tax reforms. And also later on, we'll look at politics of development and loyalty. On the set, we are having Daktari Michael Ndonye. He's a political analyst and also a lecturer at Kabarak University, trying to help us make sense of this particular discussion in this particular show for today. And the question that we are asking you, do you support the intended government strict tax reforms? Do you support the government intended tax or strict tax reforms? Continue giving us your opinions on these. 23814, that is our short code platform. You can give us your views on that. And of course, on our social media pages, that is Facebook, MBCI TV, and also on our YouTube page, that is MBCI TV Official. And of course, we always have on every Wednesday our reporter and the entire mid-morning crew going to the streets and also getting the opinions of Kenyans on the topic of discussion. And of course, today, Vincent Kimutai was also on the street on this particular matter. Let's have him tell us what is it that citizens are also thinking about this particular topic.
Shukran sana Mangicho Mola pamoja na Paul Kagi mkiwa hapo studioni, na kama ambavyo umeweza kuelezea kuhusiana na masuala ya ulipaji ushuru, ni kweli kwamba katika muda wa wiki moja ambao umeweza kupita kumekuwa na mjadala mkali katika mrengo wa Azimio la Umoja na serikali ya Kenya Kwanza, ambapo tumeweza kuona ya kwamba mrengo wa Azimio ukiweza kutoa malalama kwa serikali ya Kenya Kwanza kuwa kuna baadhi ya viongozi ambao hawajakuwa kilipa ushuru. Vile vile katika mrengo wa Kenya Kwanza wakisema kwamba kuna baadhi ya viongozi wa Azimio ambao walikuwa katika serikali iliyopita ambao hawajaweza kulipa ushuru. Na leo tumeweza kuzuru maeneo mbalimbali nchini kuweza kuzungumza na Wakenya kuhusiana na mjadala huu wa ulipaji ushuru ambao tutakuwa tukizungumza nao katika maeneo mbalimbali nchini. Unaweza toa maoni yapi kuhusiana na hatua ya serikali kwanza kuwatafuta mabwanyenye ama watu mashauri ambao hawajakuwa kilipa kodi?
Kwa maoni yangu, naonelea ni vizuri sana kwa hatua ambayo serikali imechukua ikiongozwa na rais wetu mtukufu William Ruto, kwa sababu sisi kama wananchi wa kawaida huwa tunalipa ushuru. Ukionelea hata kwa hiyo hoteli yetu tunalipa ushuru kila mwaka. So kwa hao viongozi wakubwa ambao ni mashuhuri, ni vizuri pia wao wakaweza kutoa ushuru wao, ndiposa Kenya ikaweza kulipa madeni ambayo iko China, ambayo sasa imezidi sijui trilioni ngapi hivi. Ndiposa pia Wakenya wa kawaida wakaweza kuinuka na uchumi wa Kenya pia ukaweza kuinuka na Kenya yetu ikaweza kuinuka kwa pamoja.
Kwa majina naitwa Hezbon, na nafikiri hii mwito wa rais kuhimiza watu atoe ushuru si mwito mbaya. Ile kitu wangefanya wasiingize siasa ndani, yani wasipoliticize. Kwa maana wakipoliticize italeta mfaruku na haitafanyika kwa njia ifaayo. Wasipendelee upande yote. Kama ni kutoa ushuru, watu wote watoe ushuru, wawe wakubwa kwa serikali, awe mtu wa chini, awe ni mama mboga. Na ushuru yenyewe pia isiwekwe ikue juu sana tena ya kuumiza kila mtu. Unaona? Nafikiri ni hayo tu.
Je, maoni yako ni yapi kuhusiana na hatua ya serikali kuandama hao viongozi mashuhuri pamoja na watu mashuhuri?
Okay, upande hiyo naweza ona si mbaya, lakini wasiangalie ati mtu fulani ama tycoon fulani ndio tax yake wanaona ni kama haifiki huko. Juu hata kutoka kitambo, hiyo ni kitu yenye inaendelea Kenya. Wamejua wenye wana tycoons wenye wanatoa tax na wenye watoi. So kama ni hiyo ndio njia yenye watakuwa naanza kufuatilia, ndio watu kila mtu atoe ushuru, hiyo itakuwa sawa. Lakini wasiweke kwa public ati wanaonea familia fulani ndio watoe ushuru, na wengine tumejua wenye watoi ushuru na hao wananyamaza, wanacheza chini ya maji.
Kwa majina naitwa Magi, mfanyikazi hapa Goodvary Chamazon. Naweza insist watu walipe ushuru ili serikali yetu ipate pesa ya kutujengea mabarabara, mahospitali, na ndio tuweze kuendelea.
Je, maoni yako ni yapi kuhusiana na hizo madai na kuhusiana na hatua ya kiongozi wengi kumwagiza Waziri Nung'o kuwataja wale watu ambao wamekuwa wakikwepa kulipa ushuru?
Nikifata mfano wa marehemu rais wa nchi ya Tanzania, alipokuwa anakuta watu kama hao, siku zote alikuwa anawatoa uongozini, kwa sababu hao ndio wanaodunisha sana nchi yetu isipate maendeleo ya kudumu. Na mara nyingi nikifuatilia sana historia yake, alipokuwa rais alikuwa na watumbua. Kuwatumbua ni kuwatoa kazini. Na hiyo watu wengi walikuwa inabidi sasa waanze kufanya na kutoa ushuru ambao unatakikana. Watu kama hao ambao wanaojificha, hao ndio wanaofanya, ambao tuko chini ndio tunaumia. Na alipoteua hao makamishna ni kitu cha muhimu sana, kwa sababu hiyo sasa ndio inayoleta ile logo aliyokuwa anaiongelea, bottom up. Kwa yule ambaye yuko chini apate manufaa. Na anapoendelea kwenda zaidi na kuwatambua hawa ambao walipa ushuru, hiyo ndio tunayoita maendeleo kwa wote.
Maoni yangu ni Wakenya sisi wote tulipe ushuru ndio Kenya yetu iendelee. Sana sana unaona kama matajiri wengi unajua wapeti mambo ya ushuru nini. Kwa naomba Wakenya wote tulipe ushuru ndio Kenya songe mbele. Pata watu ya chini ndio wanafinyiliwa sana mambo ya ushuru, kuna kibiswa hapa na pale, watu ya huko juu hawalipi ushuru.
Serikali kuwafuatilia wale watu ambao hawajakuwa wakilipa ushuru, wewe unaunga mkono?
Mimi naunga mkono. Serikali endelee kufuatilia na iziki kabisa, kufuatilia watu walipe ushuru ndio Kenya yetu songe mbele.
Asante sana. Ni maoni ya Kenya hayo kuhusiana na swala la ulipaji ushuru, ambapo tumeona wengi wanaunga mkono ya hatua ya serikali kuweza kusisitiza kuwa lazima kila Mkenya kaweze kulipia ushuru. Kulingana na hao ni kwamba serikali inategemea tu ushuru, na Wakenya wakikosa kulipa ushuru pamoja na viongozi wengine, basi itakuwa ni swala ngumu, itaipa serikali wakati mgumu wakati wa kutekeleza miradi ya maendeleo. Na siku ya Jumatatu, Mangicho pamoja na Kagi mliweza kuona kiongozi wengi katika bunge la kitaifa Kimani Ichung'wah akiweza kumpa majuma mawili ama wiki mbili waziri wa fedha Njuguna Ndung'u kuweza kutoa majina ya wale ambao wamekuwa wakiweza kukwepa kulipa ushuru. Ni wito ambao umeweza kupokelewa vyema, wadau wakiunga mkono, lakini wanasema siasa isiweze kuingizwa ndani. Wengi wakitaka kwamba hatua hiyo ikaweze kutekelezwa kwa njia iliyo shwari kabisa, ili wale ambao wamekuwa kukwepa kulipa ushuru wakaweze kutolewa na wakaweze kulipa ushuru. Jina langu ni Vincent Kimutai nikiripotia Mid Morning Park, MBCI TV.
There you go. That is our reporter Vincent Kimutai on the street. And Kagi and our guest Daktari Michael Ndonye, Kenyans are agreeing that the small fish are paying the taxes. It's the big fish that have the problem. But now, Daktari, how will it look like for the President William Ruto? Because now what we know is that he is determined to ensure that every Kenyan, no matter their status, no matter your class, no matter maybe your political affiliation and so on and so forth, will have to toe the line and pay the tax. But there are those who are also of the opinion that some of the notorious people who have also not been honoring the paying of taxes are right inside his government.
Yeah, thank you. I agree with Wananchi, and you can hear them speaking. That is the true kind of the thoughts that they have. First of all, this is not a very popular move by President Ruto. Of course, he is going to meet opposition. He is going to meet a lot of opposition, and you heard one of the respondents talking about Magufuli in Tanzania, and you remember even when Magufuli died, we knew him as a dictator. Sure. That is how a dictator does. A dictator, and something for you to be able to get tax from those who are not paying. Remember, we are not saying that they are contributing tax. They are paying because it is an obligation. Right. These big people, as they are calling them, they collect taxes from Mwananchi. They collect them. Do the business they are doing. They collect the taxes, but they don't remit. So they use the taxes in their own ways to expand their businesses and that. So they don't pay the taxes. So it is not going to be a very popular move. We are just praying that he will be able to go through well, because he is likely to meet a lot of opposition.
The road ahead is bumpy.
Yes, he is going to meet a lot of opposition. And also, even international community, there are those who actually thrive in doing businesses without paying taxes. They are exempt taxes, and you remember the same thing that Magufuli did to prevent the outflow of our finances. So you realize he is going to get a lot of opposition. It's not going to be easy.
So is it a matter of reinforcing some of the bodies like KRA and the DCI to go after those who
It's actually a matter of dismantling cartels, which has been there for decades since we got independence. It's a matter of disempowering them, and it is not easy. Yeah, but we just pray that he will stay like that, and that even could cost him his second term. I can tell you. Yeah, it's not an easy thing.
In your own view, it will cost even maybe some of those we could actually say are.
Yes, it could even cost him the second term. Yeah, so it is not going to be easy for him, but we just hope that he is going to succeed. He is not going to give up halfway.
Because even as we speak at the moment, actually there are those who think now this is political witch hunt. There are people who think that now maybe the Kenya Kwanza government is on a revenge path, especially maybe towards the first family, the former president Uhuru Kenyatta. And now this is what maybe will now. How do we now bring the two sides? How do we ensure that this thing is not supposed to be looked from that angle, that the president maybe is revenging and so on and so forth?
There is nothing we can do, because what else do you think a person who has not been paying tax will call it when they are told to pay tax? The easiest path is to politicize it. The hardest part would be to go to court and say, see, I have been paying taxes. Actually, they should sue if that is not true. They can go to court and they say, the president is accusing us, we have not been paying taxes. Why are they politicizing it? Because it is the easiest path to politicize it, so that now they can fight their way out of it. And so there is no way we can get politics out of it. It's a policy issue. Any policy issue is a political issue, especially when it touches on the people who are up there. Yeah.
Yes, Mangicho, I think also I was asking myself, because the president has taken over this matter seriously, and I was feeling for the Kenya Revenue Authority in a way that because the president is leading from the front regarding to wanting every Kenyan to pay tax, I feel it is leaving KRA a bit of maybe irrelevant in terms of not allowing KRA to use this avenue of allowing Kenyans to pay tax to strengthen its mandate as KRA, rather than allowing the president to do it. Because if the president takes over the matter of KRA or paying taxes, then the KRA director may not have that much power, the capacity, the will, and the zeal to do the same.
Or is it an independent body that really needs maybe the support of the executive, and maybe the president to come in hand to ensure that it serves its purpose?
First of all, what the president is doing is to dictate things. Because in this country, it's as if we have learned that until the president is hands-on on anything, nothing can go on. Because and I can tell you, all institutions in this country, they have been corrupted, including the KRA themselves. Even when we talk about tax evasion, they are the ones who help, actually, even some citizens to evade tax. So I think, as you are saying, still there are not enough structures that the government has done. I support the idea that the government is rushing without putting in place some structures to ensure that the KRA is capable and has the capacity to collect the taxes. And you see, in the year 2020, 2022 that ended in July, the budget actually target was around 1.7 trillion. But amidst COVID, amidst the post-COVID era, KRA collected 2.2, over 2 trillion. How did they get there? I think it was the directive, and I think it's a very bad way, directive from the executive. We need this money. So find a way of getting us that money. If KRA is told to do that, then it's like you have sent someone to the forest and you tell them, I need 10 kgs or 10 tons of firewood. Go to the forest to get the firewood. So they can use whatever means to get that firewood. And that is where now Mwananchi comes now to and realize, okay, I think ninafinyiliwa while some other people are not feeling the heat. And that is why now we should ask, what happened in 2021-2022 financial year? Where did the KRA get that money? And they are still following that. So irrespective of the structures that they may put.
Yes, I think two brief issues.
Okay.
Number one, I want you to see this scenario. If the president goes silent in terms of pushing for payment of taxes, go silent, can KRA pick it from there and achieve that? Number two, yes, maybe we succeed in allowing and pushing everybody to pay tax on board, and we succeed. We have trillions of money to budget our projects. Now the question is, as you're saying, what mechanism have we put in place to ensure that this money we have collected in trillions, they are not going into people's pockets? Because as we're speaking right now, report from many agencies have really confirmed that we are losing 360 plus billion shillings in corruption. What are we doing then again to secure this tax that we are collecting from Kenyans?
I don't think there are structures to do that. And that is where maybe the government is rushing into things. They are not sealing the loopholes through which the money that is collected from Mwananchi leaks. And I think that should be a very good recommendation to the government, that there is some groundwork that you have not done. KRA will collect this money, yes, but it will still leak out of the system. And once it leaks out of the system, it means we are not, Mwananchi is being overburdened, and then the money is getting lost, is not coming back to benefit them. So I think just it is true that the government need to do more and needed to lay some ground to ensure that there are enough securities measures to make sure that this money does not go away when it is collected by the KRA. But also, from where we are coming from, remember, it is as if these are executive orders that the government, the president gives. And I think we need now to relook at the orders that the government has, the president has, and the powers that he has to give orders to the KRA to collect money. Because that is coming out clearly as something that can be misused even in future by our future leaders. So I don't know what power he has to tell the KRA director, I need this money, and then the money is brought. It means there are those powers that maybe may need to be relooked at and may be controlled to avoid maybe any mistakes in the future.
And Daktari, what would you also say about now I know there was that law that has now also become debatable, that there are some individuals, there's some people that were exempted from the paying of taxes. And now it's like now this law, some people think that it was wrong for there to be such a law, and that is now what has elicited that particular heated debate on that. Is it something that needs to be looked after again?
Yeah, of course. There are laws on tax exemptions in this country. There are people who are supposed to be exempted from paying taxes because of some conditions. For example, disabled people. There are some taxes that they are not supposed to pay. And even if you go back to the times of Jomo Kenyatta, President Moi, President Kibaki, you realize the president has power to exempt, right? executive powers to exempt someone from paying taxes, but there should be justifications. Now the problem is, in this era, they don't follow that. You just need to be afraid, and you will be allowed to import cars from outside the country, import a lot of cars, and the president exempts you from tax. The president himself can exempt his businesses from paying taxes without following the due process. So we also, I think there is a need also to relook at tax exemption policy in this country, so that we know who qualifies to be exempted from paying taxes and what taxes for that case. Because they have been using their powers to exempt themselves taxes, exempt their friends, and then out of that you realize they are running businesses. Let me even shock you. You will not be surprised in future when you hear that a politician has a business, but the people who work in that business, they are civil servants. Yes, paid by the government. They don't. The company doesn't pay. You send police there to guard your business. You have civil servants employed by state organs, and they are sent there to work in your company, and then you are exempted from paying taxes. And then your car is fueled by the people. Your house is paid by the people. So totally you don't pay anything.
Yes.
Including your employees, they are paid by government. You will not be surprised to hear that in future. Mark my words. Yeah, that is how evil people can be.
We want now to get into our next conversation right here. And thank you so much for still joining us on MBCI TV, the Mid-Morning Park. So much for the tax reforms and everything in between. Now, the other thing that I think has also caught the eyes of the entire nation, especially in the political scene, Daktari, is a meeting that the president had with a number of MPs from ODM. And there are people who think that there is nothing wrong. These are elected leaders. They need to work with the government to ensure that development comes to their places. There are those who think that now these MPs, these elected leaders, and there are actually allegations that they've been bought out to betray their party and now to work with the government. And it's like now the government or the president is actually determined to ensure that he weakens the opposition. What is your feeling about this?
First, we must agree that if those 9 MPs from elected leaders from Nyanza, if they went to the president yesterday, that was not conceptualized yesterday. It is something that has been there. You remember when the president in mid-January toured Homa Bay, Kisumu, Siaya, and the reception that was there. Of course, they were saying we are trying to welcome the president so that we discuss issues development, which should be the case. And there is no problem with that. Everyone in this country should welcome the president to discuss development issues, because there is no way you can get development by law. It is better to negotiate for development than to use law to force a president or a government to allocate some money in your area, apart from the one which is in law, like the devolution money, which is actually legislated, and it is very clear. There are other things that the president has and can take to your place. These people, it means even before elections, their bodies were in Azimio, but their souls were in Kenya Kwanza. It cannot have, they started yesterday. So these people, you can try to contain them, but you will not, because now they have broken the ice. And it makes me think that even this issue of organizing around these rallies, going around, this thing is actually a kind of a retaliation of what President Ruto has been doing, going around the country in the name of prayer rallies and meeting leaders without discrimination. He goes to Mombasa, he goes to Luo Nyanza, he can go to Nyanza, he can go to Western, to Eastern. How do you think Raila Odinga is feeling? So he had to find a way of countering that. And of course, President Ruto told us that it is because of the tax fight. It could be true, one of the reasons, but there are these other reasons. Why are you going to my calves? Why do you look like you are taking away my people? I need to be powerful. I should speak. And that is why you had Peter Anyang' Nyong'o and Orengo saying, ODM, we did not allow them to go there. So who allowed Peter Anyang' Nyong'o to go to State House? Because he was still there. It means they did not negotiate with the party, and this other one negotiated with the party.
And in a situation like that, therefore, should those MPs, were they supposed to actually ask for permission from the party, from the ODM party, before they meet the president? And does it necessarily mean that now that they have been together with the president, they have met the president, does it mean that now they are not loyal to their party?
The first question, yes and no. These people were elected under Azimio, and for them to be elected, most of them, I can tell you, they were elected because of Raila Odinga, right? So when they don't ask if they needed him before elections, they should need him even when they are going to visit the opposite side. That is yes. The other thing is no. They do not need that, because who is superior, the party or the electorate? Because they have been given power by the electorate to go and seek development for the people.
But remember, they've been given power by the electorate through the party.
Through the party. But now who is primary? And that is why, at this particular time, I think we should look at democracy from another perspective. That these are adults, they are elected by the people. If they are going to the government, to join the government, for the good of the people, then be it. But the party has got its own interest. They are saying, we carried you, so you should remain loyal to us. But also we should examine what is the outcome of loyalty to either of them. If they are loyal to the party and they remain in opposition and there is no development in their place, nani ataumia? Is the Mwananchi. So at the end of it,
Mwananchi will ask them questions.
Yeah, it's Mwananchi who will ask them questions. So we can either decide to be loyal to the party and have the Mwananchi not get what they are supposed to get, or be loyal to the government and then we get the benefits that comes through that loyalty. Of course, I'm not saying, because some people will argue, no, the government is supposed and is mandated by law to distribute development everywhere. But it does not work like that. It doesn't work like that. You cannot treat a person working by law is different from when you are working out of goodwill. It's different. Yeah.
Kagi.
And there's something that maybe you can confirm. Yes, I agree totally.
Yeah.
When one is elected to be the president, you become the president of every corner of the republic.
Yeah.
And everybody should work with the president. I totally love the way the governors are really working with the national government because they are intertwined in a way. We need national government to be able to achieve our dreams in county governments. But of course, we must agree that the president is a very wise and unrelenting schemer.
Yeah. Yeah.
As much as he's a president, he is scheming for his comeback after 5 years.
Yeah.
Don't you think the president is having what we call a double speak? On this side, he is saying that we need to make sure that we have a strong opposition. We need to provide all the mechanisms. We need to provide all the resources, the offices to make the office of the opposition to be able to run. And he is proposing some laws in parliament. On the other hand, the president is also thinking on how he is going to woo and to talk the opposition MPs, I think, to weaken the other side. Of course, he won by bringing on board the independent members of parliament and senate on his side, of which I think he's looking for a very strong team to make him to pursue his agenda in both parliaments. Don't you think the president is having a double speak?
Yes, because in any battle, in any battle, and you see, politics is war. In a battle, if you are fighting for a region, you have people fighting on the other side, there is me fighting on the other side. There are no people who go to fight with the interest of killing one another. There is the interest behind, maybe the land or the resources. So for you to get the land and the resources, you have to kill that person. There is no person, commander in war, whose interest is to strengthen the enemy so that they win the war. There is nothing like that. So for him, and that is what advantage he has as president. He has the advantage of killing two birds using one stone. He weakened the opposition. That should be his mandate. And by doing that, he lengthened his term.
Okay.
So that by 2027, he will be stronger. So he is strengthening himself. He is actually at the same time weakening the opposition so that he can deliver. Because at the same time, I can tell you, there is no way a government can work, even with goodwill, until there is a weak opposition. Opposition has to be weak for you to work. Yes.
So, Dr. He is not sincere when he's saying that he wants a strong opposition?
No, that's not true. That's just saying they want a strong opposition. He wants a strong opposition. He wants, but he doesn't need a strong opposition. So what do you think?
He wants, but he doesn't need.
And also, I think, Daktari, there's one thing that I'm observing, and I think you should accept that, or maybe you deny. The same formula the president used in the year 2013, the second term of the Jubilee government, to be able to scheme and plan on how he is going to bring the Mount Kenya on his side. If you look back 2013 all the way to 2017, is the same formula. No, I think 2017, coming to 2022. Is the same formula. I think he's eyeing, and because now already as we're speaking, the Mount Kenya region is on his side. But now I think he's using the same formula to be able to bring on board a sizable amount of support from Nyanza and I think Western region to make his work to be easier in the year 2027.
You are right. You are right. And you see, politics is drawn on the table. You sit down and you can project where we are going. You are right, because first of all, he has an advantage to deliver to the people. At the same time, he is not just delivering blindly. He has to take advantage of that delivery. That delivery must be strategic. It is actually strategic development. I give you this, hoping that in future you will give me back. So there is nothing like I can just give you can just bring development somewhere without a return politically.
So Dr. in essence, what you're saying is that we should be able to read in between the lines, because he's on record saying that this government is for every Kenya, regardless of whether you voted for Kenya Kwanza or you voted for our opponents, that is the Azimio. We are going to ensure that every Kenya benefits from this particular government. Now, if what you're saying, that then there will be pressure for those who maybe are perceived to be in the opposition to actually just give in and maybe be seen, or actually work with the government, or maybe pledge their loyalty to the president, for them to be able maybe to have services and development be taken to their areas.
And also the nature of the politics that we are playing now. Actually, if you remember, in 2013, there was that thing of the digital versus analog. It is now here now with us. If you look at Kenya Kwanza government, is made of mostly millennials. And if you look at the generation, if you look at ODM, ODM is made of the 1990s young Turks by then. Those people have not, and one of the weaknesses that the opposition has, those people have not allowed the young people to shine in politics. And that is one of the undoings of our old party. So they are likely to shift, because power attracts power. If you want to survive in future, you are likely to see them align themselves with the Kenya Kwanza government, because they can see future there. On the other side, they cannot see future because there are a lot of handles for you to be recognized. And that is something that we are likely to see. So we are likely to have, actually what we will be discussing next time maybe is about the crisis that will come out of that. Because all of them will come on board and then someone is not going to be happy. Yeah.
And Daktari, even as we look at that, are we also now going to see that kind of a meeting of those MPs with the president now translating to the electorate? Are we now really like now maybe seeing that maybe in a place like that that we've been seeing, of course, they've been voting for Azimio leader Raila Odinga.
Yeah.
Now, by meeting with these MPs, is it just the meeting, or is it now the electorate will now be able to see that maybe this government has done a lot in our area, and maybe, because now maybe that is what even the president will be focusing on, that if maybe I take the development to this particular area, maybe Nyanza and other parts perceived to be in the opposition, that it will translate to the electorate now voting for him?
Is a red alert to the opposition. Is a positive and a negative to the government. To the fact in this way, the president has got his own interests. There are people in Kenya Kwanza who I know they are not happy. They are not happy about it. Why are you bringing these people? They were on the other side. At the end of it, they are likely to start benefiting. Yes. You understand?
Actually, what you're saying is true. Sorry for cutting you short, but I remember even during the handshake time.
Yeah, it is
split.
That is
what brought problems.
And the reason why I'm saying next time here we should be discussing on the consequences of bringing all those people, because I think President Ruto should sit down and compare the votes in Central and the votes in Luo Nyanza and make his decisions. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I think it was 1%. In Luo Nyanza.
He should even if they vote him as a block, he should consider what if they vote me as a block.
Yes.
Yes. Actually, in 1 year from now, he should be doing what we call alternative cost. Nyanza or Central. Nyanza or Central. Otherwise, it can mess him up. Yeah, bringing those people is not just as easy as it looks like. He is strengthening himself, but he can strengthen himself and weaken himself at the same time. Yeah. It's not
and Daktari, maybe as we continue, what can we do to make sure that we separate the politics and development in terms of, we have now the devolution. The reason why we brought in devolution is to ensure that there is no much politics in our development.
Sure. Yeah,
we can have the national resources sharing. You know, there are some works to be done by the national government, some works to be done by the county government, some work to be done by the member of parliament, some work to be done by the members of the county assembly.
Right.
But you see, by the way we are moving right now, which I think they are reading a script for Moi, whereby you come and visit the State House to be able to talk to the president to bring some development in your area. I think we are far much out of there. We should not go back there, whereby we need to go to the president to talk him to give us development. I think by now we have structures to ensure that the national government knows the kind of project it has to do for its people. The budget is there. We have passed the development in parliament or whatever. The county government is there. It knows its mandate. It has its own budget and money from the national government, blah, blah, blah. What can we do to be able to separate the politics, which are exotic, and the development of this country?
Thank you. The 2010 Constitution did that. When we were operating using the 2010 Constitution, when we were operating using the Constitution, that was the case. Starting 2017, that Constitution ceased to exist. Actually, at least in a de facto way. Because if you go back to the discussion we were having when we were voting that Constitution, a governor was supposed to be a technocrat, or not supposed to be a politician. A CS was totally not supposed to be a politician. Look at where we are now. Who are our CSs? Actually, they are elected. Some are elected members who are just appointed as they reside, so by elections they are politicians. So there is no way, Kagwa, we can actually separate politics and development. Many actually civilizations have tried, but it cannot work. Even in the United States, it cannot work. Because if you are our system, the system of the person who will be overseer of our development is politics, it's a president. Then, how do you expect a civilian to come and work with the president? Okay, for the civilian to work with the president, to be favored in future, they need to support the president. What do we call that? It's politics. They need to be a politician. For you, if you want any appointment in the county, you cannot just move out of here and go to the county and say, I want to. They will ask you, where were you during campaigns? Did you support me? It actually means, did you politic with me? If you did not get into politics, then you cannot get into the system. So it is very hard for us to separate the two.
Okay.
We can try through the law, we can try through morality, it has never worked. So politics will always be politics because development is always legislated sometimes. It is always about policies. It is actually done through policies, and those policies actually, the word politics come from the word policies.
Serious.
Yeah, and declaring that is something that is very important that you have actually made. Now, of course, now the question is, and some people have actually been asking now that, do you think that now by these MPs working with or agreeing to work with the president, agreeing to work with the government of the day, is it in any way going to affect the former Prime Minister, the Azimio leader, Raila Odinga, in terms of his command of his politics and maybe his constituency?
Yeah, there is something that that David, that the Bible talks about David. When he had served his generation in his time, he rested. You remember I told you that the opposition party is made of the 1990s young turks.
Okay.
They were young by then. Now, and the reason why I told you today's politics is now a reflection of what was there in 2013 about the analog versus the digital. Young people are having a different perspective from the other side. It must affect him. Look at the people who responded yesterday. Two major people, actually, two very senior people responded. Orengo and Peter Anyang'o. Those are young Turks of 1990s. You are likely to hear Kaluki Gilu if she had not retired, talking, the likes of Kivuda Kibwana, the likes of Karua. But you will not hear these young people talking about that. They will not respond. Apart from those who are young, but they are also old-minded, or they can see this is a position for me to step and spring to, because some also young people have been using now that to spring to power. So it is going to hurt him. And it is not going to be easy, let me tell you. If we've always said when your time is gone, or it is good to learn the seasons and the times, even in politics. If your time has come to exit politics. Otherwise, you will come out and people will treat you, will use you, and you will come out with a lot of not very happy. Let me say that.
Yeah, and maybe one question here is that take a scenario whereby the Azimio leader in the before maybe by the year 2027. Wakes up and calls a press conference and says that from today I want to thank you Kenyans for your all support for all the decades and I'm retiring from politics. And he goes and retires in politics. You never hear him. He's just resting wherever he is.
Talking about 2027.
Yes. What would be the possible scenario in our Kenyan politics?
We birth another opposition leader because we cannot stay without an opposition leader. As long as he is there, the country cannot birth another opposition leader. So he will be declared immediately a statesman, as he is.
Do you think there's someone who can be able to merge His charisma in opposition.
Yes. It's
Who is
only
that?
that they have not been given chances.
Who is closer to that?
You will never know. You see, until there is luck, until you know bees, these bees you see they make honey. Until the queen dies, no one thinks that another bee can be fed to become a queen.
Yes.
So his father was there. We thought that when he went, now opposition was dead. But when he passed on in 1994, there other people came up.
Okay.
So it's only that they have no chance, because that there is only one opposition leader at a time in this country, like the president, only one president at a time. Until the one who is up is weakened, either weakened or they exit the scene, there can never rise another one. Yeah. And you see, like now it will be very hard for him, especially to match what we are calling now the shrewdness of President Ruto. President Ruto is another generation. He needs a person of the same generation to match him. Otherwise, the young Turks can never match that. The force that the president has.
But there are also who are also of the opinion, Daktari and Kagi, that maybe it's just a strategy that he's using. Those who think that those leaders have his blessings when they went to meet the president.
Nothing can be far from truth in politics. Nothing. In politics, anything is possible. Yeah, you believe, you buy everything and you watch. Because it can also be true.
It can also be that these guys have gone to spy the land, and they are warming up for a handshake.
Yeah. But also now they need also to be very careful, because all those things when before they are allowed, that is why I said that was not arranged yesterday. It is something that took time. By the time they are coming there, I can tell you people sat down.
Yes.
And analyzed, what if they are coming for this reason? What if they are coming for this reason?
What are the advantages? What are the disadvantages?
Yeah. What if they are watermelons?
So all factors are put into the table.
Yes. What if they are radically supporting us? All those things we analyze, and I'm telling you, politics is a strategy that some people do not sleep when we are sleeping. Because they look at all those options and now they are able to handle the situation. And doomed is anyone who just gets into such a kind of coalitions without looking deeper into those issues. Yeah. Because if they did not look deeper into that, and maybe there are those other strategies, then they are doomed in the future. And we will be here to see.
I think this is a good opportunity where we want now to get into our leadership profilers segment. And the person making for us our leadership profile segment is engineer Crispus Wadhimba. I think let's have that particular segment right here on the Mid-Morning Pack.
Dear everyone, I hope you're well wherever you're watching me from. Happy New Year. My name is Crispus Wadhimba. I'm an engineer by profession, and I'm happy to come before you this day to share one or two views about leadership. I am a resident of Nakuru County, born and bred there, even though I do my business mostly in Nairobi, but I consider Nakuru as my first home. As a young child, I aspired greatly to be a leader, and I'm happy Nakuru County gave me that chance to try my leadership skills. 2017, I ran for Bahati parliamentary seat under the Jubilee ticket as a nominated candidate, although I was not successful. In 2022, I also tried to run for the same seat, for the Senate seat as an independent, still unsuccessful. But these two chances that I got from Nakuru County to run for public office give me an opportunity to understand the importance of leadership. As a civil engineer of 17 years of experience, with a master's in business administration and currently pursuing a master's in project management, and great deal of experience in governance and leadership, I feel as a country, we need to be very, very serious when it comes to electing our leaders. Whether it's in an elective seat or even in the offices where people have to be appointed, state officers, it's important that as a country, the leaders we put in whatever office, they are the right fit for that office. We need to avoid leaders who come with a lot of personal vested interest that preclude the greater good of the people. It should be a patriotic responsibility of any person who is given a leadership role to make sure he serves that office with the diligence, with the commitment, with a degree of honesty and integrity that office deserves. As a country, we have enough resources to take care of ourselves. But it cannot be enough if a few leaders, selfish leaders, take everything. This country is suffering at the moment because our economy is struggling. But it's struggling because of decisions that were made in the past, some of them selfish. To correct these decisions, it will require everybody's effort. And one of the efforts that we must make, we must invest in choosing the right leadership. We have just concluded the general election. We have new offices that are going to be occupied by leaders. I hope and pray that wherever appointments which shall be made, the right caliber of leaders is made so that we can be able to move this nation forward. I have had the opportunity to work with the people of Nakuru. I have worked with what called the Wadimba Foundation in helping uplifting the life of many young people. I empower young people through talent empowerment programs. We also help students who don't have enough school fees. We also provide food for those in need. But that's a small way we are able to do that. We hope and pray that we can also work with other leaders within the Nakuru community to uplift more lives, to improve more lives, to make the community within Nakuru County and Kenya at large better and greater for everyone. So thank you so much for this chance and God bless you.
On the leadership profile, and today we were having engineer Crispus Wadimba there making for us that particular segment. Thank you so much. Now, as we come to the to the conclusion of our discussion for this show today, Daktari, and of course, Kagi, we also this week we are expecting the president in Nakuru. Daktari, maybe what's the expectation?
He is coming with around 20 invited governors, right? He did not invite them when he was in Bomet and other tours. So first of all, it is going to be a reaction to what the opposition has been doing, to have rallies all over. That is why he's trying also to consolidate his people. So of course we welcome him in Nakuru. Nakuru is a peaceful place, it's a good place. We are expecting not to get much for Nakuru purpose because, first of all, there will be other governors. So he will not address Nakuru the way he addressed people in Homa Bay, Siaya, Kisumu, and he will be addressing the governors of the over 20 governors who have been actually invited. So to me, my expectation is that it could have been better if it came earlier before the opposition shake-up. And because of that, he might not address matters of Nakuru unless so under the boardrooms. But openly, I don't think he will be addressing the opposition through these.
So the opposition rallies will still be the subject of domain.
Exactly. Yeah, that is why he has invited these over 20 governors to come. So he will not concentrate on Nakuru issue so much. So it is unfortunate for us.
And every time when you hear any president who comes to Nakuru, whether before election or after election, they come and give a very strong statement.
Yeah.
And I believe Sunday will be a very, very important day for not only Nakuru region, also the country at large. I expect a very serious statement from the president and his Kenya Kwanza team regarding to many issues that are happening to the country. You know, this is where they come if they want to seek some supernatural intervention.
It's a springboard.
Is their place.
It's a springboard of revival.
Yes, and when you see them coming, you can easily tell now they need supernatural intervention in the matters of running the government.
Yeah, and these meetings have they've now become quite symbolic, Daktari, the Sunday meetings, although there are those who have been criticizing the same.
Of course, I agree with Kagi that first of all we need to understand what is the placement of Nakuru spiritually. It's a springboard of revival. When they come here, there is a lot of grace, not only political grace, but also spiritual grace. It is there. Yes. And here is when we are likely also to hear them make statements about now the formalization of their prayer rallies. And what many people have been saying, no, these are not prayer rallies, they are political rallies. And I hope people are praying so that when they come, the church will be strengthened. Because when politics and the church come together, there are some tug of war. And we expect to hear from them strong statements, right? But those statements will not will be statements of politics and religion. Yeah. And then now, of course, you can be sure if they will attack the opposition, it will be from that point. Yeah.
And Daktari, do you feel that, of course, it's very good for like you've said, even for the leadership and even for the entire country to actually be able to pay attention and even to recognize the place of the supernatural power, even in terms of ensuring that our country goes on. But the feeling that we've just been from an election and now the way these meetings are punctuated also with political connotations. It's like, again, we are just on another campaign mode. And now when you combine these with now the Azimio rallies, it's like now the road to 2027 has just started.
Exactly. There is a need, first of all, to have clarity when it comes to politics and religion. And I think maybe we might have time and talk about that because it has a lot of confusion on are we supposed to be politicians when we are also Christians? Is a priest supposed to run for an office, or who exactly, where is exactly is religion in leadership? And I think maybe we'll have some time to discuss about that. It's a long discussion. And then draw from the Bible and see whether these things are separate. I'm an elder in the church, but I have a lot of interest in politics. Does that make me a bit lesser or something like that? So I think there is need for us to demystify the position of the church in politics. And also at the same time, look at the dangers. Because politics is dirty. Religion, church is holy. Where do they meet? Where do they clean one another? How much can we go into cleaning politicians? You understand?
Yeah.
So I think it's a complicated discussion that I think we should have time and discuss it deeply so that we understand our position.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think that is something that, of course, we'll be able to prepare on our mid-morning pack. But time is so much spent for us. But Daktari Michael Ndonye, a political analyst and also a senior lecturer at Kabarak University, Department of Communication. Thank you so much, Daktari. It's been a pleasure having you on this particular set.
Thanks, too.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that's where we bring it to a close for today. We want also to appreciate you for being with us and also your participation, your contribution on our conversation. This is your weekly show where we look at matters pertaining our society, our nation, education, science, health, agriculture, and everything in between, just to ensure that the country is not losing direction, but focusing on what is supposed to be focused on. My name is Mangicho Mola. Until next time, have a blessed day.
All right, and my name is Paul Kagi. I want to wish you a very lovely day ahead. Thank you for watching us.
Dear viewers,